So welcome to our iCivics PD today. I am Christine Zapata and I'm representing the Field Support Center. I'm the one that sends you the 50 emails, or your principals the 50 emails to organize. We're very excited about iCivics and unrolling it for our entire district. So this morning, you guys, the elementary school teachers, in the afternoon, the middle and high school teachers will also receive training that are age appropriate and grade appropriate, which will allow us to really build better citizens, more civic-minded students from our early grades through high school and hopefully for the future.
Good morning. It's good to see all of you. Thank you for being here. And let me start with a thank you for what you guys do every day. I am in a profession where at times folks forget to say thank you, so I always try to lead with that. I appreciate what you do every day for the young people of this community. 2 days ago, we had 5 of the BSAC, high school BSAC groups at our office at Borough Hall. We had them in April, late April of this year, and they made their presentations to us as a team at Borough Hall for their wishes on capital projects. And we invited them back to let them know that 5 of their projects were selected. And we announced that we at Borough Hall were allocating $22 million in capital money to our schools. Included in that would be their 5 projects. Since I've been at Borough Hall, we have allocated around $52 million of your money, of taxpayer money, to capital projects. And since I've been a public official, my 15 years in the council and that 3 at Borough Hall, we're at around $125 million in capital allocations to schools. I say that not to pat myself on the back. It didn't come from the Little Jimmy Oddo Fund. I wish the Little Jimmy Oddo Fund was big enough so that I could be that generous. It's taxpayer money. I say that to let you know that I am committed to giving you and giving your principals and giving your colleagues the tools you guys need, or at least some of the tools you guys need to do your jobs even more effectively. And I start with that today to let you know how committed I am to education. I am the youngest, for those of you who don't know me, I'm the youngest of 4 sons, the first person in my family to go to college. My dad drove trains for 30 years all around this city. I often think these last few weeks what my father would say about the MTA, given everything that's happened. But he preached to me that education was the pathway to opportunities that he never had. And I've internalized that. And when we got to Borough Hall, I made a commitment to elevate Borough Hall's role in education on Staten Island. And I think that manifests itself in the hiring of Rose Kerr. And I hope you guys are aware of all the things that we are trying to do. I'm committed to education because it's not just a politician's hyperbole. I believe when I say, if you look at any of the challenges we have on Staten Island, if you look at any of the challenges we have as a nation, if you want to get to the heart of the matter, if you don't want to just sort of deal with the symptoms, if you want to get to the heart of the matter, the best way to do that is to make sure that our kids, our students, are as skilled as possible. We want to propel them into middle school. We want to propel them into high school. For those who want to go on to college, we want to propel them into college and beyond. For those who are going to go on a career or a vocation, we want to have them as best equipped as possible. Think about every challenge that we have on Staten Island. Think about every challenge we have as a country. And when you think about, well, what's the fix? The fix, in part, in a large measure, in my mind, it starts with the family, in my mind, but education, the fact that you have these kids for so many hours, for so many days a year. And one of those ills, one of those challenges we have in society is that in an era where you have more access to information than ever before, there are fewer and fewer people who are informed. And I don't want to get too far off on the political, but we just saw a presidential campaign where the one thing I think we can all agree upon was that there was a lot of anger. Now, as a guy who was angry before angry was cool, I kind of looked at it and was like, isn't this ironic? but of that red hot cauldron bubbling of anger, we need to figure out how to extract more light and less heat. And one of the ways of doing that, I believe, is reintroducing civics in our schools and an emphasis on civics and teaching young people the history of this country, the mechanics of this country, and equipping them with the desire to learn more about it and be better informed so that when they grow up to be the voters and the leaders of tomorrow, they're ready for it. I was going to try to do this. It probably wouldn't work. But go on YouTube. Type in the words Richard Dreyfuss in real time, or Richard Dreyfuss and a TED Talk. The actor Richard Dreyfuss. Two S's, yeah, Richard Dreyfuss, and the second, add a second S to it. And listen to how articulate and compelling he is. He is, he has distinct political views, but he talks about this in nonpartisan terms. He transcends all of the nonsense and talks about how we are losing ourselves as a nation because we don't understand. And these things have to be taught. They're not just automatically passed down from generation to generation. And that's why your work this morning is so important. I charged my team, my new policy team, find me a method of emphasizing civics and educating these young people on this. And that's how we found iCivics, which is a wonderful, wonderful entity. Thank you to iCivics. And the curriculum is creative. I think it will capture the attention of young people. And Isaac and everybody at my policy team, Rose, everybody at the education team, really, I think, hit it out of the park. And we love this collaboration. And I hope you guys get as excited about it as we are. I think nothing but good things can come of this. And I know that you all are already pulled in a million different directions, and you're compelled to do this and this and this, and you have to cram that into 45-minute periods and how many hours of the day. And I know this is an added burden on that, but I think it's time well spent because this is the foundation I think we build everything else on. So I've gone on probably a little bit too long. Again, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for being here. We will continue to try to help you. If you have any specific need, email Rose, email me, tweet, Facebook, email, do like I still do and write a note. Let me know how you think we could help you, your schools, above and beyond, obviously, this, and we will try to do it. So thank you. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Try to have a few minutes of peace during this summer, and we will see you around the bend. All righty? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Implementing Game-Based Learning for Social Studies in the Elementary School. I am Ada Benanger. I am a member of the iCivics Teacher Network and your facilitator today. And we are here courtesy of the Office of the Staten Island Borough President and the New York City Department of Ed. So before we start, are any of you familiar with iCivics already? Okay, what? Thanks.
Oh, really? Oh. I'm from the Borough President's Office, and that is the very reason why we want to do this, because this is a fabulous free tool that we don't use, that we don't know about. Maybe we know about, we don't use.
Okay.
And so that's why we're here. You could have used this all year long. But I know, having been a teacher for so many years, that if I become trained in something, I will use it more likely. I will plan my plan next year. So all summer, as you're doing your unit plans, as we know you do, and people don't think you do, but you do, you're going to be putting this iCivics tool in to your unit plans, fingers crossed, right? I'm sure they will.
So this is our game plan today. We're going to do some brief introductions and get to know each other. We're going to talk about what research says about why games are so important in the classroom. We're going to talk about the many free resources that iCivics has to offer, and we'll get to walk through the site with Amber and see what's there. We'll get a chance to be hands-on and actually play some of the iCivics games. And then finally, we'll talk about turnkey training so that you can take your knowledge of iCivics back to your schools and share your knowledge with your colleagues there. So I'm not really a gamer. I played last probably Miss Pac-Man on an Atari system, and I wasn't very good. But I played anyway because it was fun. And that's the power of iCivics games. Kids love our games because they're fun. They play on their own time because they are so enjoyable. So there's a lot in the media now about the importance of play-based preschools, and that's so important, but that need to learn through play doesn't end when they start first grade. There is power in learning through games all the way through the educational experience. So what does research tell us about games? Well, we do our best as teachers to pump our students up, to make them love learning, to think of themselves as critical thinkers. But sometimes, despite our best efforts, students come with damaged school-based identities. In my case, many of my students have interrupted formal education. They've been out of school for 3, 4, 5 years, sometimes even more by the time they come to me. And they just may not think of themselves as students. The power of simulation games like those of iCivics is that they get to create a virtual identity for themselves. Within the games, they can be a lawyer, a county executive, a judge, so many things. And while they're assuming these identities, they're helping people. And that's a powerful feeling. So they play with less anxiety, their affective filters are down, and they may not even realize they're learning. But these games are presenting them with choices, and then the games give them immediate feedback on the choices they've made, and then they get to revise those choices based on what they have learned. So they are learning, but in addition, research says that damaged school-based identities can be repaired through these types of games, and that is a powerful thing. So, civics. If you think about what civics is, it's really learning about the processes of government and becoming motivated to participate in these processes. And the best way to learn about a process is to practice it. But our kids can't. They're not old enough to vote. They can't run for president. They can't argue cases in court. But what they can do is they can practice all these things in a game and become motivated to take steps out in the real world when they are ready. So, another good thing about games is that they embed many of the best practices in education that we try to bring into our classrooms. They are interactive, they are engaging, and the scaffolding is built right in so students move through towards independence by gameplay without any additional action by the teacher. It is just built into the game. So, why do we use games? Because lots of kids think civics is boring, but everybody loves games. So if you put civic education with games, you get engaged students who love learning about civics. So what does iCivics have to offer? We have 19 different games. They cover the 3 branches of the federal government. They cover local government. They cover civic duties and civic engagement. All of the games are designed to be played within a single class period. The shortest games take as little as around 10 minutes. The longest games take up to 45. All of the games have accompanying teacher materials for before and after the game, PowerPoints on topics covered in the games. And another wonderful feature is you can ask students to print reports about their gameplay. So you can look at the reports and see which content and skills they have mastered and which content and skills they are still working on. So no wonder the games have been played over 20 million times and it's still growing. They are relevant during the last election year. The game Win the White House, which simulates running for the presidency, was played more than 3 million times. Some of our games are available as apps for tablets. The interface of a phone is a little too small for the games. The 2 indicated with arrows, Win the White House and Executive Command, were most recently updated. Another game available as an app is Counties Work. If you look at media coverage of government, most of the press coverage is about the national government and the state government. So it's really easy to miss the power of local government. Local government is the level that most impacts the quality of their lives. So in this game, students play the role of county executive, delivering services to members of the community. So as they're fixing roads and dealing with the natural disasters and building schools and parks, they're learning about the power of local government and hopefully becoming motivated to take steps in that arena when they are ready. How to play our games. All of our games are free, and all 19 can be played at iCivics.org. The games that are available as apps can be downloaded for free at the Apple App Store or on Google Play. I want to do a special plug for my favorite game, the game that got me first hooked on iCivics, Do I Have a Right? In this game, students manage a law firm and help people with cases where they need to defend their legal rights. So they're matching amendments with the situations that are presented. Super fun and really effective. In the upgrade, there's going to be an app, and it's going to have built-in supports for ELs, emergent bilinguals, and a Spanish translation. This game is going to be ready in September for Constitution Day, and I hope you'll look for it. It's really awesome. I should say it's on there now, but the upgrade is rolling out for Constitution Day. So, time for a poll. Which of the following is the best way to use learning games in the classroom? I want you to read through the choices and make your selection, and then tell the people at your table what you think. What's your choice? Before I tell you what research says is the best way, I am going to say that all of these are valid. And I hope that you use any and all of them that fit the needs of your classroom. But what research says is the best answer is C, using them as part of a larger sequence of activities. Games are awesome, but we promote teaching around them. So what does that mean? I'd like to present the game sandwich. So if you have a sandwich, the most important part is like the beef patty, or if you're a vegetarian, the veggie patty, and it's good. But it is a satisfying meal once you add the bread, the lettuce, the tomato, the condiments. Then you have a game sandwich. How do you make a game sandwich? Extension packs. So extension packs are available for the 5 games listed there: Win the White House, Executive Command, Do I Have a Right, Argument Wars, and Lawcraft. The extension packs include a starter activity, which is like an activator or a do now, and then a lesson plan to further students' thinking about the topic, a post-game activity to consolidate their learning after gameplay, and then an assessment that lets you measure their mastery of the content and skills you were teaching. So we're going to take a look at what that looks like for the game Executive Command. Executive Command is a game that allows students to play the role of president for a 4-year term. And they're trying to fulfill the many responsibilities of the president by delegating to correct departments. And they have to manage military conflicts, so they have to act as commander-in-chief as well. So for this game, the activator would ask them to brainstorm a list of what they think the president does. And then they would have a mini lesson about the source of presidential power, and they'd look at a short excerpt of Article 2 of the Constitution to see what that says. Then they would actually play the game. And a quick note about gameplay is that it can be whatever you want it to be. Some teachers like to play as a whole class. They project it on the smart board, and the class collectively makes decisions about the course of gameplay. Some teachers like to do it one-on-one, where every student has their own device and they're playing individually and consulting a partner or a teacher when they need to. Another option is to play it at home. iCivics has a student learning management system that'll let you track students' gameplay when they're not with you, and we'll talk about that a little bit later too. Or my preferred option is to have students do it in pairs. So one student controls the computer, The other student is reading aloud the text that appears on the screen, is looking through resource materials that might help them make decisions in the game, and in my case is using a phone to translate any words that are confusing that might come up during the course of the game. So, and then halfway through the period, I have them switch roles, so both students get to experience both sides of it. So after they play the game, they would have an activity that involves sorting out different departments and the roles that each department plays, and then they'd finish with a mini quiz. So, starter activity, brainstorming the list. Then they continue their thinking a little bit, and they try to categorize the things they put on the list into these key roles of the presidency. Then they take a look at Article 2 of the Constitution, and they try to tease out important roles of the presidency from the original text. So they get a little primary source practice. Then they actually play, using however the teacher has decided is the best way for them to play the game. And then after the game, they try this. During the course of the game, military conflicts arise, and the president has to decide which branch of the military is the correct branch for the type of conflict that is occurring. So this helps them consolidate that knowledge and match the military branch with its description. And then finally, there's a mini quiz, and the mini quiz can be for whatever you want it to be. Is it homework? Is it an open book quiz? Is it a graded quiz? You decide how it best meets your needs. Most games have an option of normal and fast. I tell my students to always play normal until they feel ready. And they're also on-screen tips for every game, so they'll explain what your choices are, and after students feel comfortable, they turn that off. Because after a while, some of them, when they get the hang of it, they find it annoying to have tips and hints pop up, but at the beginning, it's very helpful. So I'm going to talk about the first time I found iCivics. I was in a professional development workshop about project-based learning, and at the end, I had a chance to do my own thing. So I'm on the computer Googling lesson plans government, and up popped iCivics, and my jaw just kind of dropped. There was page after page of amazing lesson plans and supporting materials, downloadable as PDFs, PowerPoints, all of this stuff, and it just went on forever. So what did I do? I started downloading like a crazy person because I was convinced that at some point in the near future, a paywall was going to grow up and I wouldn't be able to get any of the stuff. So I'm pretty much maxed out my hard drive. Happy to report, several years later, there's even more stuff on the website now, and it's all still free. So let's take a look at what else is in there. We've already talked about the 19 games. They also have lesson plans, more than 150 of them, that cover pretty much any topic you want to teach about government. The foundations of democracy, Enlightenment thinkers, economics, it's all there, and it's all searchable. In addition to those, we also have some tools that promote literacy. There's Drafting Board, which guides students through the steps of creating an argument-based essay, and DBQ Quest, which guides students through primary and secondary source analysis, which is pretty powerful. And I understand there's only one of those up now for the DBQ Quest, but I really like it. I find it really helpful for my Ls to give them hands-on document analysis. And I understand that there are 5 more coming within the year, so I hope you'll look for those. And then there is the classroom management, the learning management system, which I described. So when you go onto the website, you click Teach. It takes you through the steps of creating a free teacher's account. And then once you have an account, this is what pops up. There's a drop-down menu here. You can select your state and you can search. You see curriculum units already there, or individual lesson plans. Searchable, you can find what you need. A tab for the games. Drafting Board, which is what I described earlier to guide students through argument-based essay writing. DBQ Quest, and WebQuest, which I haven't mentioned yet. WebQuest lets students investigate a topic, answer it more deeply, using carefully curated web materials. So that one is also a powerful learning tool.
All right, so first things first, when you get on the iCivics site, you can immediately go to play, like Ada said, or you can go to teach. All right, we'll go to the Play Hub first. So this orange icon here, as well as this reddish button on the top, will take you right to the Play Hub. All right, in the Play Hub, you will find all of our games. All right, you can search them up top, or you can just scroll down. The top 3 here are the ones that we feature on our site, and we rotate those as we release new games or upgrades. As you guys scroll down, we have little blurbs to help you along the way, about meaningful gameplay, just to remind you, what we're all here for. And then here are the list of our other games. So as you guys can see, we'll just keep scrolling down.
And they have the time estimates right there.
Right, so if you're wondering like, oh my God, how long does Immigration Nation take? It takes a little less than 15 minutes, obviously not 0. And then as Ada mentioned before, this one takes more than 30 minutes. It's about 45 minutes for this game. All right, are there any questions about the Play Hub? You and your students can go right to the Play Hub. You do not have to create an account. You do not have to sign up for anything. You can just literally click a game and just start playing. All right, and it'll pop up sometimes depending on your browser. You can say no thank you as far as get the full iCivics experience. If you just want them to get on really quickly, say no thank you, and then the game starts up right away. All right, so that's one way to do it. All right, we'll go back. All right, so now I'm going to take you guys. Are there any questions about the Play Hub? Yes.
Are there grade levels attached to the games, or I have to research them?
There are not grade levels attached to the games. Like all games are essentially as low as 3rd grade, all the way up through people in community college play them, people in alternative schools play them, so all the way up through adults. So 3rd through adults by themselves, I'd say 1st through 3rd with the teacher in the front like I'm doing, and then picking people to come up and play. That's the best way for elementary school, for all of the games.
So the reading level you're saying is for proficient 3rd grade?
Proficient
The child
3rd
on
grade.
level. Okay.
Yeah, a kid who's on level in 3rd grade could probably work through this. My kid is above reading level for 3rd, well, she's going in the 4th grade, and she was just fine. She breezed right through.
Okay. I teach special needs, so my children will all be low level.
Okay, so the
In
best
literacy anyhow.
the best way to do that would be you at the front of the classroom reading, and then you guys playing together as a class activity.
Scaffolding through it. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that question.
You're welcome.
All right, so we're going to go into the Teach Hub. So I'm going to go back to the home page. So we're going to go into the Teach Hub. This is the place where all of our lesson plans, all the other digital tools, obviously teacher resources for the games, they're all located in the Teach Hub. All right, so when you click on the Teach Hub, just like we said before, you can search by standards. So you just select your state. We're going to go down to the lovely state of New York. All right, you could select the courses, like if you want to teach, civics and citizenship, economics, blah, blah, blah. We have all of that there. We also have grade level, so we have all grades, kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. We will pick 3rd grade. Let's see what happens. It'll probably just be the games that pop up. So you see here we have all the learning standards here. And then what the lessons are. And the lesson plan link is clickable. All right, so when you find something that you like that matches a standard, you just click on it, all right, and it'll take you right to step 3, who you're going to call. We're in the county solution, all right. It takes you right to the lesson, okay, and I'll just click on the PDF to show you guys. Now you have to create an account, so let me go back in. All right, so here's where you would find all of the standards and be able to search grade and topic. All right, that is in the Teach Hub, okay, right here at the very top. You can also search by product. All right, so like Ada showed you, we have the curriculum units, lesson plans, games, and drafting board, DBQuest, and WebQuest. The thing about the Teach Hub, so if I click games from here, It gives me an overview and it shows me the teacher's view of the games. Students are not able to access information in the Teach Hub unless they have a teacher account. We have tried very hard to make our resources quick and accessible. So what I recommend is that if you want your students to have accounts, you create them for them, okay? That way you know that they have student accounts and they do not access the teacher materials. All right, if students get into your answer key, then
Is there a limit to how many student accounts you can create under one teacher?
no. We have had teachers with, 5 classes. If you imagine a high school teacher, hopefully they're not teaching 6 classes in a day, but some do. And if they have 20 to 30 students, 20 to 30 times 6, that's a lot of kids. Bless that teacher. All right, so we're gonna go back. So this is the Teach Hub. This is the main place for you. When you sign up for your teacher account, we want you guys to go here. We want you guys to have teacher accounts. It is the best way to experience iCivics, all right, having an account. So that's what we're gonna walk through right now. So we're on the home page. We're gonna go to Join iCivics. So everyone click this clickable link here at the top. It should take you here, hopefully. All right, let's all select teacher account. Remember, student accounts do not have access to the teacher materials. So we're gonna click teacher account, and I'm gonna sign up with the Ford account too, hopefully. All right, so you should get some randomized username. You will not be able to create your own username, all right? It is a randomly generated assortment of a color or some other concept with numbers and letters. We do understand that this might be a little bit difficult to remember for your students. That's why it's really important that once you create their accounts, you download and you keep that list to help them out, especially with elementary school kids. Here's the reason why we do this. So there are a zillion mics in the world, all right? Mic 1, 2, 3 will be taken up immediately. All right, so we to eliminate that issue, we're like, hey, no one gets to choose their own username, all right? Randomly generated, okay? Also, kids type in inappropriate stuff too, so that's crazy. All right, so you're gonna put in your first and last name, put in your email address, all right? I want you to verify your email address by typing it in again. All right? You're going to create a password. Please create something that you will remember. Okay? Confirm that password down here. All right? Put your zip code in. Obviously, the awesome state of New York goes in here. Your school name, and then we'll select next. Okay? I'll just sign into my account while you guys are doing that. You should receive an email confirmation of your account being created. If you do not, that's okay. It happens. Our support team will be able to help verify your account so that you can get going. Okay? All right, I'm going to log into my account. So when you sign into your account, all right, and you get into your account, you can either click My iCivics or your name, all right? This will take you into our LMS, or our learning management system, all right? So in our LMS, you can edit your avatar, okay? Like I've jazzed myself up here. You can check your classes, okay? So I'm gonna walk you guys through how to set up a class on iCivics, okay? You're not expected to remember all of this. We have tutorial and other supports and videos to help you through this. All right, this is just to familiarize you with it so that when you're doing this on your own throughout the summer or in the fall, you're like, oh, I remember, she did that, okay? All right, so we're gonna set up a class on iCivics. So I'm gonna click the Classes tab. I'm gonna create a new class. And please let me know if I'm going too fast. So when I create a class, I'm going to name this class. So I'm going to call this Staten Island Teachers, yay, okay? All right, so I'm going to give my class, this is the date that I created the class. I'm going to have an end date for the class. So if you're a middle school or high school teacher, this is really important because when the semester is done or when the quarter is over, then this class closes, okay? But for you guys, obviously it'd be till the end of the year or whenever you're done. All right, so I'm just going to put in the date of June of 2018. June 2018, I'll do the 28th, all right? You want to give yourself a default password. The reason you give a default password when you set up a class is when you create your student accounts, that is the password that you will provide them, okay? So I'm going to say that one more time. I have a default password for the class that I've created because that is the password I'm giving my class when I create their accounts. Everybody got that? Okay, awesome possum. So I'm just gonna write iCivics, yay, okay? Because I'm super excited to be here. All right, so your class code. So this weird number down here, all right? All right, so the description is, we'll say Staten Island example. This is just for your own personal bookkeeping for later on. All right, so you can put in as little or as much or nothing in this box if you'd like. And then I'm going to save. Ba-boom. All right, so I have my class, Staten Island Teachers, yay. Okay. Now I want to create student accounts. So I'm going to click Add Students. All right. So here's where we add students to our class. You can type them in individually, all right? I can add multiple students at once, all right? And if I were to add multiple students at once, I would say, John J, June Jones, Karen Brown. Like I would just type in their names, okay? So what I would recommend is that you literally just type your students, either just their first names and their initial or their first and last names, just to let you guys know we are COPA FERPA compliant, okay? So that means that we're not collecting data on your kids, okay? As you can see, there's a bare minimum of information we are asking of you to go up here on the site. If you don't want to put your students' first and last name, you don't have to. You can put their first name and just an initial. Their age is not up here. Their address is not up here. And if you haven't connected an email address, that's not on our site either. Okay? Just to let everybody know. I know that comes up with parents and administrators. Clarifying. I've added my students. I'm going to write Gina Thomas on here too because she's going to be deleted. Sorry, Gina. All right, so I've added my students to my class. So I'm on the classes tab, I scroll down. So now you guys can see here that John, June, Karen, Tim, and Gina all have usernames attached to themselves. This is what you will give your students, all right, when they go on to the site, okay, with that default password that you created for the class. Yes?
Can they sign on using their email though each time, or do they have to memorize this?
If they create accounts with their email address,
Yes.
they can sign on with the email, but you wouldn't be creating that. They'd have to create it
They have to
themselves.
do it on
But
their own.
Yes.
They could put the class code in to be a part
Yes,
of
they'd
the
have to
class,
put a
right?
class code in and then join your class.
Okay.
Yes,
And I think
yes.
What would be your recommendation if I see, say, 3 third grades? Would it be best to create 1 third grade class and make everyone join that one, or individual classes?
That's
on
an
that
excellent
third grade?
question. So here's my recommendation. If all of your students are doing all of the assignments, just make it 1. If you have it where you have a differentiation, between levels, I would create different ones so that the pace is a little different because you'll be able to see their progress on the progress bar, and it's a little like who's who when you're like, these people have completed this assignment, these haven't, what's going on? okay? But it's also up to you. It's your preference. If it doesn't really matter and you just want all at once, that's fine. Yes.
So you're saying if they have a Gmail account, they can sign up as a student and then just add the class code to join into the class?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, yes. You had your hand up so long ago, and I'm so sorry.
I remember what I was gonna say. You might have answered the question.
Okay. I like
They have to
that.
log in with the class code and then their username as well.
They log in with their
That was what I was
username
asking.
and password, not the class code. The class code only comes into play when your students create accounts for themselves. And I will show you how that works. So the class code that is assigned only comes into play if your students create their own accounts. If you create accounts for your students, it is the default password and this username. If you need to delete a student, just really quick, this X right here, remove, you just click that, and boom, that person's gone, okay? It's gonna take a while for the site. I say unsubscribe user. Unfortunately, Gina's kicked out. Bye, Gina. You are removed, okay? And as you can see, she's no longer here. If you need to add more students, obviously, you can add here like I did, or one at a time, all right? And then when you're all finished, you download the spreadsheet so that you can administer the passwords or remember the passwords for your and usernames for your students. Now we're going to go back to classes. All right, I'm going to select my class. So I click on the class. Now I want to create an assignment. All right, so I'm going to walk you guys through really quickly how to add assignments for your classes. All right, so I'm here. I want to add new. Okay, I'm going to give it a title. I'll just say the presidency. All right, the content. So we link content here in this section here. All right, so let's say I want them to play the game Win the White House. Okay, so I'm just going to type in Win the White House. It automatically pops up. I'm going to click here. Boom, it's a flash game, just letting me know what it is. All right, I have a date for when this needs to be completed. So let's just say by the 30th, just for fun. I give instructions to my students, so just, have fun playing. I can't write. All right, and then I want to scroll all the way down, and I'm gonna click save, okay? So now I have an assignment created for my class. I've called it the presidency. I told them to have fun playing, and it's due on June 30th of 2017. Just so you guys know, our PDFs, so all of our lesson plans, will not be able to be assigned. The reason is they're a PDF, one, okay? They're not a PDF that you can put in the stuff, all right? Also, two, they are a teacher resource. They are for you. They are not for the kids. They are a facilitating tool for you, okay? So you cannot assign those to your students, okay? Yes.
So only games are assigned?
Games, DBQuest, WebQuest, drafting board. Those are the things that can be assigned to students. In fact, drafting board, WebQuest, and DBQuest cannot be accessed by students if they are not assigned by a teacher. I'm going to say that one more time. Our digital resources are not able to be accessed by students because they can only go to the Play Hub or their dashboard of what you provide them. Okay, it's giving you the amount of control over what they can access on the site. And I recommend that if you're going to assign anything, that you play it first. Play it first, go through it first. If there are any glitches or anything weird, you can obviously contact the support group, the support system, and email us and let us know. And that way you have a level of comfortability prior to your students using it. All right, we highly recommend that you use the tool first. Okay, so we've created accounts, we've created an assignment. Those are the two major functions that teachers use on our site. Just to remind you guys, when you go into the Teach Hub, everything is here for you. I recommend that you take just a little while go through this Teach Hub, look and explore, figure out the things that might match up with what you want to teach, and figure out how they fit into your plans for the upcoming school year. Remember, everything can be searched by standards, by grade, by topic, okay? And also, never hesitate to reach out to iCivics. We try to do the very best we can when things break because it is technology. All right, during the school year, we do have high traffic usage on the site. So there might be some slowing down, there might be a few glitches. Please be patient with us, but we will do our best to make sure that your experience is seamless, fun, enjoyable, engaging, but most importantly, educational. All right, if you need more help, all right, we have the Help Center here. You just click on this link. I'm going to take you right through. You can search. You're like, oh my God, I don't know. How do I create an iCivics account? Boom, lets you know how to create an iCivics account. If you're like, okay, I don't know how to, are usernames case sensitive, or are my students rewarded for improving their iCivics skills? We have so much information in our Help Center, all ready to help you. Okay, so if you have a question, go to the Help Center first. If you can't find it there, then you will have to email us, and we answer you guys. Okay?
If we're ready now, now's a good time to actually play a game. So up here we have three good choices for elementary school games. The first one is fun, a little silly, but fun. Responsibility launcher, you are a responsibility fairy. See her there? And you have people with certain problems that can be resolved with the proper civic responsibility. And you teach them their responsibilities. Things like following the law, things like that. They read the problem and they match it with the civic responsibility that can address that problem. Cast Your Vote involves students choosing questions on important topics to ask candidates at a debate, evaluating the responses of the candidates, and then casting their vote for the preferred candidate. And later, which I think is a really important part, they have the opportunity to reflect on their choice, because maybe they said that they valued a certain part of it. For example, maybe maybe they really valued environmentalism, and one candidate gave a better response, but then they voted for the other candidate. They have the opportunity to reflect on whether or not their vote corresponds with their values, their professed values. So that's an important critical thinking piece. In argument wars, they have the opportunity to argue real Supreme Court cases like Brown versus the Board of Education. They choose a side, and then they have to choose the arguments that best support their side of the case. And they have to recognize weaknesses in the opposing side's argument. And at the end, the side with the strongest argument wins. And it may not be necessarily the side that actually won historically. So if you are arguing Brown versus the Board of Education and you don't pick your strongest arguments, the judge could decide that school segregation is legal. On your own, if you click play, I want everybody to find Responsibility Launcher, and let's try that one on your own. And that one is a quick game. Responsibility Launcher is a very fast one. And then later, let's play Argument Wars as a table. Okay, so we're going to talk now about how to conduct the turnkey training, because we hope that you will go back and share your knowledge of iCivics with your colleagues and get them equally enthusiastic. Okay, so the materials you're going to get in a binder, eventually. You're going to get 2 facilitator guides, aka lesson plans, that'll guide you through the steps of conducting the training. You're going to get a menu of, I think, 21 different activities that you can choose from, and you'll just pick what suits you and your audience. Some tips to facilitate, a link to our new professional development Facebook group. So I'm already there, and I'd love to link up with you and hear your thoughts on how you're using iCivics. We also have answers to common questions which may come up during your workshops that you're going to want to be able to answer with your colleagues, a teacher guide, and 4 teaching bundles. And you did already get these lovely workbooks. So that isn't coming, but unfortunately that's the only thing we have for you right now. So in the packet, if you'd find the 2 lesson plans, there are 2 options, and you can decide which workshop is best for your audience. Option 1 focuses on getting to know iCivics. Option 2 has a little more information about game-based learning. So you can decide which one suits you. But they both have all the features of an iCivics lesson plan. So at the very top, you have an estimate of how much time is required. You have the necessary materials, the advanced preparation that would be required, the lesson objectives, some options you may want to consider, and then a step-by-step sequence of activities for how to run the workshop. Each workshop comes with its own reading, very similar, just slightly different depending on the angle that you chose. And then we got to go through the website with Amber and be guided through the features. Unfortunately, we can't all take Amber back to our schools with us. So we get a scavenger hunt-like activity, which takes them step by step through an exploration of the features at the site. The menu, like I said, 21 different activities. You pick the ones that suit your needs, your audience, your interest, your style. And then you put it together in a workshop. So I'd like you to take a little bit of time to start thinking about how you would do it so we can answer questions or consult as needed. So think about your audience, your location, your timing, how long you would typically have for a workshop. Look at the 2 guides, see which one you think would be best suited for you and which activities you think would go over well in your school. I hope you all were able to create your free teachers accounts on iCivics. I hope when you conduct your workshops with your peers back at your schools, you will encourage them to do the same. iCivics, thanks to Amber, is on all kinds of social media platforms. I am proficient in Facebook, I barely Twitter, and I don't even know what some of the other icons up there are. But if you know what they are, I hope you'll follow iCivics on all of them. I hope that you will assign our games and you will teach around them in a game sandwich. And those materials are yours to keep. These materials are available for free as downloads on the website. But if your colleagues are jealous and they want their own nicely bound color copies, they are available on the iCivics website for a reasonable price. Or if your PTO is asking for what teachers want on wish lists, this is a great option. And thank you for your attention. And I will say, as a native New Yorker, I'm embarrassed that I haven't spent much time on Staten Island. And I've loved it. Thanks, guys.